Professor Raymond Noble, Department of Ancient History, log entry number 2. I believe I am able to distant files.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Well, sometimes that is better.
Run, Rabbit, run!
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Have you checked the children?
Michael!
Beware the stare of Mary Shaw.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
I myself am strange and unusual.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
I just can't take no pleasure in killing.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
You want to know what happens to an eyeball when it gets punctured?
7 days.
The juice is loose.
Unpleasant dreams.
I know.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Terror Talks. We got Rae back here. It's been a long time. How y'all doing?
Hi, Rae.
Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
And Ansley.
Hi, Ansley.
And back here, newest part of our members back here is Harrison.
Hi, Harrison. Congratulations, everyone. You have just successfully entered AA.
Damn it! I knew this was a trap.
All right, well, as you heard, we've got several people here. We're entering season 4 of the Terror Talks, and how fitting that there's 4 people who you're going to hear from this evening. As I throughout the season, it's going to vary this year. The Boo Crew doesn't exactly exist really anymore. We've sort of just said to hell with it.
It's kind of diluted down.
Yeah, so, and you'll hear us mention that on another episode coming up too, actually. Ironically, that we recorded before this one.
Yeah,
but we wanted to start the season off on a good note, so we've decided we'd do this one and release it first.
Spoiler alert, it sucked.
Yeah, episode 2. If you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to, but
We're giving you permission to skip that one.
yeah. But on today's episode, we're going back to a place we all know and love. Well, some of us know and love it because we visited it last year.
Madworld!
That's right, folks. We went to Madworld Haunted Attractions located in Greenville, South Carolina. This was my 4th time going. This was Ansley's.
Second time.
And this was Rae and Harrison's
First time.
We got to experience Madworld Haunted Attractions for their opening night, which is sort of becoming like a recurring theme this season. Like, we did opening night of Horror Nights last week, and we got opening weekend at another haunt, and we got to do...
That shall not be named.
That's because it technically really hasn't happened yet in Terror Talks timeline.
You don't know about that yet.
Yeah, we won't tell you where it is. Spoiler alert, it's in Florida. But, and then opening night of Madworld. So, like, we've got this opening trend sort of thing, but unfortunately, next...
It'll have to end.
It does, yeah, it has to come to an end at some point, I guess. And next weekend, from when we're recording this, maybe when you're listening to it, it won't be next weekend, who knows. But the Friday the 13th will be the final opening night, really. We might get a couple more in there, because a few haunts open later. But, you know, enough jibber-jabbering. We've got a haunt to talk about. We promise this year we are going to be diligent. We're going to release these episodes like we are releasing something. I don't know what we're releasing, but some...
Good job.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But, Madworld, Haunted Attractions. Okay. Yeah. Ansley, start. Talk about it.
I was not prepared. We got our tickets.
Riveting, honey. Thanks.
I was not prepared. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right, fine. We're going to give Ansley a chance to collect her thoughts. Harrison,
Ansley's
talk.
not usually put on the
All
spot.
right. So, Madworld. This is my first time an actual second haunted house ever going to. Overall, before you even go inside the haunt, I will say the cast that are outside in the Midway is very open, very spacious, and all the actors are interacting with you. Like, they're not just staying around, just doing their job. They're actually interacting with you.
Conference number one.
Right.
Favoritism.
have favorites. Except you, Gunther.
But Midway, very spacious. They have a new thing out there. I'm going to let them go more into detail about that. But it's very spacious. A lot of vendors are there, which I love that. And they made you feel welcome.
This is inside the gate, everybody. He did not specify they do not have actors running around in the parking lot because that would be dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to have some actors running around the parking lot and making you run face first into a car.
Let's not.
Well, I would say the amount of parking people there, that's a lot of people.
Shout out to you parking people. Make sure everybody's parking.
Heck yeah, parking people.
The parking people was insane. We rolled up there, and the poor girl working it, she's like, "Are y'all parking?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, go straight ahead." I'm like, "Y'all got a lot of people out here, don't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's their first night." I'm like, "Dang." But they had a lot of people to park. And
love to see it, love to see it.
So, and I mean, to see that, all that on opening night is already a great thing because that is a wonderful indication of how the rest of the season is going to go. You got that many people working on a night where that really wasn't super, super busy. You know, opening night typically isn't that busy in the haunt industry just because it's earlier on in the season. So, you know, people aren't like us who are like just haunt crazy already, like in the middle of September.
And you are regular crazy.
Mind you, we were late, Ansley.
I needed a nap!
I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, we were.
Ansley needed a nap. Naps for Ansley.
Ansley took a nap. And
last year it was fuck you, Ansley. Now it's naps for Ansley.
All right, so, yeah, okay.
The Midway, the ticket line, the arch in the beginning was...
Are you just saying parts of the haunt now?
Be quiet, please. I am speaking. You had your chance. You had your chance, man.
The air was great.
But overall, my experience, like, before even going inside the haunt, phenomenal. I mean, it's... Opening night, they made you feel welcomed. Especially if they're asking you stuff like, "Oh, how are you enjoying it so far?" And you say it's your first time, they get all excited. They're like, "Really? Tell us what you like about it so far." And
yes,
then you
they love feedback. They absolutely love feedback.
Shout out to owners. Well, I was going to
And security guards. I got stopped by a security guard and asked how I liked it.
Security guards were funny.
I have a video of it, so don't worry, guys.
About to say, anything we don't mention here, you are liable to see in the video version of this. Well, not the video version of the show, but you'll see our full experience out there. But I do want to give a huge, before we even go any further, it begs to be said.
Yes.
A huge shout out to the owners, Joe and Tim.
Thank you, Joe
guys.
and Tim.
They literally, last year they made us feel welcome. If you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out on our YouTube. If you're not already on YouTube right now listening to this, but if you haven't, go to YouTube and watch the video from last year, which we released this year, but I digress. We got an awesome interview with Joe last year and some of the makeup artists as well. Got to go behind the scenes and really get an in-depth look and really pick their brain about how Madworld works as a haunt. And then this year we got to have a little bit of one-on-one time with them. We didn't want to take up too much of their time this year because we did that last year. So we're not going to, torture them with our questions and crazy press reviews too much.
We keep it fresh here at the Terror Talks.
Yeah, we only asked them like 3 questions this time. Which, ironically, we only asked them like 5 questions last time, so... Only 2 questions less, but it was awesome because we did this year get to meet Tim, the other owner, so that was really cool to get to meet both of them and pick both of their brains.
We're sorry we didn't have more questions for you. All of our questions had gotten answered, so...
It's okay, I told them this year was going to be much briefer. Like you said, we keep it fresh. But so huge shout out to them for making us feel welcome, for allowing us to film inside the haunt for the show. Obviously, this is not something that you can regularly do. So for them to make that accommodation for us, so that we can give y'all some really cool content, was very, very just amazing. Is the only word I can say for it. So we will clip in a little interview that we got from them. We talked a little bit with them before we went in, and you will hear that right here.
Hey guys.
Hey,
How
man.
y'all doing? I'm Joe. Yeah, it's good to see y'all again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Awesome. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. So, real quick before we get in there, I just want to ask, like, what can guests expect this year with Madworld?
So we've got a lot of new things on the trail. We've
Right.
got 2 full brand new rooms that you can experience. A lot of different things we actually took operationally out here to try to make operations more smooth and better for customers and staff. We've added some new characters out here, and we've added our brand new Creature Concoctions.
Awesome.
Which is our very own drinks. They're non-alcoholic, bubbling, dry ice drinks.
Cool.
You get a souvenir, glow-up souvenir cup, magical cup, and they come available in 4 different flavors. So yeah, that's been a hit tonight. So
We're gonna have to try them before we leave.
definitely, yeah. We also have a new carnival game over here. So it's a pumpkin shoot game. You're trying to shoot balls into the pumpkin.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of like a shooting gallery type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to do a little bit of spice on everything for the most part, but yeah.
All right. Awesome. Does any of y'all have any quick questions before we get rolling here?
So what inspired you to create such a big haunted attraction?
Well, we've just always been very passionate about horror, Halloween, as you guys are. It's in our blood. Y'all know how it is. And, when we started in 2011, we started from the ground up. So everything you see is about an accumulation of trying to build it bigger and bigger. So each year you come, you should be seeing more stuff. You should be seeing growth. And that's how we got to where we're at 14 years now. So
very nice.
That's actually one of my questions. When did y'all start y'all's operation?
I'm sorry, sir.
You answered it with her, like, when did y'all start the operation?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it was just, 2011. Nothing that you see here was here. And we started with 20 volunteers, and I think we brought in like 3,000 people in the whole season.
Oh, wow.
Now we'll bring in like 6,000 people in a night. Over double
That's
that
awesome.
in a night.
It definitely shows. I'm always astounded at the number of people here and all the hard work y'all put into it. So.
This is my second haunt I've been to.
You have anything?
I worked at. That's where I met all this. I used to be security. Seeing how big this is so mind-boggling because this is my first time being there. And it's like, we could do this, but they're gonna want to.
Yeah. They want to keep it in a certain pocket. Yeah.
They don't want to expand on it.
Yeah. To each his own, I guess.
Yeah, they more care about the Christmas part than actual Halloween that brings in more money.
We're gonna try to make this as big as Disney World if we can.
Nice, I love it.
Have y'all met? This is Terror Talks. This is my brother. He's the other
Okay, good to meet you, Tim. Nice, finally. I've met you before, so it's good to meet the other face.
Did you guys go through?
Not yet. We're about to go through.
Awesome.
Did you guys have any questions for Tim?
I think you covered a lot of it.
I'll just have a question for y'all when you come out. I want to see how you like it.
All right. I guess one question I can ask both of you is there one thing this year that you're most excited for people to see, experience?
For me, it's this.
All right, awesome.
I know it doesn't involve the actual main attraction, but
it all is all encompassing. So,
I mean, it's everything. I mean, the trail though is our bread and butter. That is where majority of our staff is. That's actors. The quality, all of that just really is so important to me. This is awesome. The whole festival atmosphere is what we really like, but that's what really, somebody can come in here and eat something they don't like, but they won't give you a bad review for it.
Right.
You can, but if they don't like that trail, it don't matter if everything else was great. They're like, man, I don't want to, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I spent $40 to go there on that trail, so, always trying to improve that, make it better, make it, just really, really all the way around, just make it so good that majority of it was going to love it.
Well, we are very excited. We see some really cool new characters walking around out here too.
Yeah.
So I'm real excited to see them out here, see them inside, and see what we got this year. All right. Are we still good to film inside? All right, awesome.
Yeah, you are. It's always like last year. You edited up.
Yep. All righty. Well, we look forward to hopefully catching y'all when we come out. Let you know how we stumble. Yes, sir.
Make it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to hear about all the really cool stuff for this year, how long they've been around. I can't believe they've been around for 14 years now. 14 years of scaring the living hell out of people. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And that's saying something because in this little group we have tonight, I am so very pleased to say that I'm not the only one who got scared tonight. And that is such an anomaly.
We're not going to talk about that.
No, we're going to talk about it. It's going to come up. All three of these other people in the car, Ansley, Rae, and Harrison, all three of them got scared.
They got me a few times.
None of them get scared in haunts, and they all got scared.
Well, the three of us have actually worked in haunts.
As
Me
have
and
I.
Rae have haunted in haunts, yeah, but you haven't worked in it as long as we have. 3 years of 4 years of experience.
Security, and that was it.
And yet, the one with absolutely no haunt experience is the one who said, "Hey, I'm going to start a haunt podcast and review these places."
Not true. You had 4 days.
No. Before I started this show, I did not have any experience. I just knew what I liked in haunted houses. So.
And then you came in haunted with us, and the story continues there.
Yeah, and now I actually know some of the inner workings, so I can be a little bit more of an ass now when I review things. Yeah. But luckily on this one, I really don't have to be an ass. All right, so let's dive in. Let's get into it. We're going to try and keep this as brief as possible. We're not going to do it quite how we used to do it with the rating of each little category, because that's just...
That's null and void at this point.
I mean, we still will do it. There'll be a written thing that I will probably do at some point. But for the at this point, it's just an overall. How do we feel about it? We know on a scale of 1 to 5 how we feel about the haunt at this point. We know where it's going to stand for all of us. So, with that being said, we're just going to dive right in. We're going to keep it. We're going to try and keep thoughts to a minimum, and we're going to try not to overlap each other's thoughts, just because we are driving down the road. We're in a very enclosed space, but we're going to try and keep it organized and not repeat ourselves too many times, like I just did. Take a shot every time Jeremy says something. Alright, so from the minute you walk in...
Wait. Anytime you say something...
Alright guys, you're going to get...
Again, Terror Talks does not condone drunk driving.
Why are you saying again? They haven't heard that episode yet.
Oh, yeah.
Moving into the haunt. So, obviously, we've already heard about the Midway. There's so...
Say something about the Midway.
Oh, Ansley would like to talk about the Midway.
When you first come into the gated area, you pass through the front gate, they have this huge castle-esque facade with, bricks and, gargoyles. And they actually added something really, really cool. And you'll see it in some of the videos. I don't know if we got any videos of it actually doing what it does. But I would just like to say, before you even go in the gate, me and Rae actually had to use the potty.
Porta potty.
Porta potties. Well, no, it was me and Harrison. My bad.
No, it was
Not
you,
in the
Harrison,
same
and Rae.
Oh, well, all three of us. I don't know. I was in the bathroom when the other two decided that they had to pee. But they have a flamethrower out there.
Oh my God.
And it would go off periodically. And one of the times it scared the hell out of me because I was using the bathroom and I was in this little ass porta potty and it just goes whoosh.
Try being next to
the shit out of her.
It did not.
Try being next to it.
I'm a lady. I don't poop.
Because there's 3 porta johns right next to it.
What the fuck is a porta john?
Porta potty. I'm sorry, I work in
Fucking
construction.
porta potty.
I work in construction. Screw off. Anyway.
Damn.
And we're back to fuck Ansley.
So there's 3 of them in the front that we saw, and the 2 that we're talking about, one's right next to this damn thing, and it just scared the piss out of me. Literally.
Anyway.
I think that was my really only complaint with the outside is because you know what's going to happen, but you're not expecting it while you're using the restroom. But other than that, awesome.
It's just as soon as you walk in, it's all these really cool colors and bright lights and fog right there beside the door. So you end up, most of the time, you will walk through fog if you're walking through there. And it's just, mwah, perfect, wonderful. And not to mention, they have at least 10 Midway actors. And that's what I counted. I mean, I feel like I saw some more, but at the same time, there were so many of them that if you would have sat there and counted, you would have lost count at least 12 times. They were up there with you, they were over by the fire pits, they were over by the games, they were everywhere. You could not, look in a direction without finding a scare actor in the Midway. Which I, for one, absolutely love Midways that have so many opportunities for Midway actors. Because coming from a haunt that only had 3 to 4, it is very, very nice to be able to see multiple. And I have been actually told that some of the characters are actually played by multiple different people. So that means that, okay, me, Rae Harrison, and Jeremy are working in a haunt. If I'm a Midway actor, next time you might see Jeremy. Next time you might see Harrison. Next time you might see Rae. It's not going to be a stagnant, oh, this is the only Midway actor in this group of 4 people. I feel like that gives better opportunity for more people to be in the Midway. And then, of course, they added a new game, which was really cool. I didn't get to do it this year, but it is perfectly fine. I will hit it up a different year. They, of course, had their mini golf and their axe throwing. They had a area where you could sit down and enjoy your treats from the newly placed in snack place. What is it called?
Creature Creations.
Creature Creations, which is a snack bar. And as you heard in the interview with the owners, that is one of their newer things, and one of them is super proud of it. I did not catch his name because I am really bad with names, but Jeremy will know it.
Joe.
Joe said it was his favorite.
He said that's what he was most looking forward to.
That was what he was most looking forward to. Jeremy actually got to get a drink from there in a Blinky cup.
And I think all 4 of us, just said, fuck it, we're going to share this straw, and we all drank it. So I guess since you brought it up, we can briefly talk about that drink. Unfortunately, they have 4 different flavors. Vampire's Blood.
Which was strawberry.
Shit, does anyone have a picture of it?
I do not.
No.
Zombie something.
Yeah, zombie, something, ghoul, something like.
The one we got was strawberry.
Yes.
It's very hit or miss for me with strawberry. So, I didn't like it quite as much as everybody else did, just because I'm not a huge fan of strawberry and some things.
I like a strawberry.
I like a strawberry. Anyway, it was kind of watered down to me, but they might have did a little bit more than I did. But it had this really cool salt or sugar on the rim. I didn't taste it, so I wouldn't know. But next person.
And then they had a really cool effect with dry ice, where it made it look like it was bubbling like in a cauldron.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And it also had edible glitter, glitter that will digest in your poop.
Oh,
love that.
Oh, that was the rim, right?
No, the whole drink. I don't know if you saw it in when it was spitting in the thing. It's glittery. It's like that one alcohol that has the glitter in it.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time Rae says glitter.
Just glitter, 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 glitter.
Glitter.
But what did you think of the flavor of it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I wish we could have tried more because I'm a big mango fan, so I probably would have tried the mango. But it was $15.
Yeah, I will say it was a little on the pricey side, which I will say if you're going to Madworld, have your pocketbook ready.
And full. The admission, right, is $40 for general admission. But their food prices inside are not as bad as I've seen at some haunts. I'll give them that.
True story.
Yeah, I didn't get to. I think we didn't go up to like the food booth, but I think Rae did go up to it, and she checked it out.
I did. I don't remember the name of it. I'm so sorry, but they make their own sweet tea, and it was really good. So if you're listening to this and you were selling the sweet tea in the cool little like water-looking bottles, it was delicious.
Harrison, what did you think of the drink?
It was alright. I'm not a big, I'm very picky on some of the strawberry drinks I drink. But, I mean, I liked it. It was pretty good. Granted, I didn't buy one myself because personal stuff going on. But eventually, I would love to go back and try the rest of the drinks just to give them all a chance. Because one drink won't, I don't want to say that one drink's going to define the entire thing. It's a different kind of drinks you have to try to see which one that you would actually like, and I would love to do that.
It would taste good with rum in it.
Yeah, I agree. 'Cause I will say it was actually really tough to pick which flavor I did want because there was the strawberry one, which is what I got. That was the vampire's blood. Yeah, and the orange was a mango flavor. The green was a green apple flavor, which I was leaning towards it. Because I like strawberry more.
But green apple.
Do you want to turn around? We'll go get one.
We can't. They're closed.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Anyway,
But let's say, Joe, Tim, you want to meet us outside?
Make us hurry.
And then the blue one, I'm gonna just spitball here. Don't hold me to this. I think the blue one might have been like a blue raspberry.
It usually is.
Yeah.
If it's blue, so.
I mean, I don't know what other flavor you could do with blue.
Blueberry.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could do blueberry. I'm sure in the video version you will see it and you will know exactly what it is. We just don't know it off the top of our heads. But either way, I still think they were good. It is funny because you would expect that type of drink to be alcoholic. And obviously, I know mixing alcohol and haunts sometimes can be very, very stupid.
But the added security, that was the first haunt this season so far that we have went to where nothing has happened.
That we know of. I mean,
Both the other places we went to that you will hear about later and before, possibly depending on the timeline of these videos. One had a lot of teenagers. They were getting into fights, blah, blah, blah. And the other one that I really don't want to mention because I kind of sucked.
They're gonna find out about it soon enough.
Not gonna call any names out because you'll hear about it later if you decide to watch it. But we did not like that place, so I'm not gonna mention it. But I witnessed something happen like immediately in front of me.
Oh yeah, but you'll hear about that in the episode.
You'll hear about that later. But shout out to the security team. Y'all killed it tonight.
Oh yeah.
Nothing happened at all.
Like I said, that we know of.
That we know of.
As far as we could tell.
Nothing happened in front of us.
If something did happen, he handled it well.
Yeah, it was handled very, very discreetly. You wouldn't have even known.
So, coming from the security side of the haunt stuff, to me, the security guards were nothing but professional. They made their presence known. They're not. Everyone thinks of security, they're going to be mean, bulky, mean. These guys, we were going through the line and we were taking a picture of one of the haunt characters. And he saw the camera, he's like, oh, hi!
He literally waved at it, so if you're listening...
They kind of became characters in a way and still made a way to keep you feeling safe.
Right.
Yeah, those guys, coming from the security side point when I did it, those guys are amazing. I mean, they made themselves known. They're letting their presence known with the law enforcement also on site. It was that, hey, we're here, but... They're very friendly, very professional, so hats off to those gentlemen right there.
Yes, definitely can 100% agree.
Because none of you guys talked about the best part of the Midway.
Which was?
The fucking sliders, dude.
But
holy
the fire
shit.
Twirler was really good, too.
The sliders.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Not many haunts nowadays have sliders, right? And Madworld is known, right? If you follow them on their social media, they are very, very proud of their sliders. Very proud of the things that they do. Acting and all that stuff. So I give a shout out to those people because, man, that's gotta hurt after a few hours sliding on your knees like that.
And they set up some really good shots for us.
Yeah, like slamming down on the ground that fast and dragging. I could have just imagined the heat coming to my knees trying to do that.
I mean, you had knee pads, but at the same time.
Well, even then, even with the knee pads, I could just imagine it. Like, I like to rollerblade, and if I fall on my butt rollerblading, I'm sitting there like, I don't want to do this anymore. And you guys do this on a nightly basis, during the hot season. Props to you.
Hats off to all the characters.
Yes. And
especially you new people.
And Ansley mentioned the fire twirler guy.
I don't know the technical term for it, so I apologize.
Fire poi.
Fire poi.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just informed that it is called fire poi. And he was out there last time, and it was so good. He actually put on a very good show over by the fire pit. And it just gives you a little something extra interesting to watch. And he was so good about it. Like, he did it, like, he performed to the music they were playing out there. He made his presence known. He was interacting with the guests as well. I know I got up there to get a video of him, and I stood in front of him, and he did an entire show, and it felt like it was just for me. So kudos to you, buddy.
Yes, very.
Rae gave snaps.
Note to self, add in clapping applause. Okay, but like I said, enough about the Midway, guys. While people do enjoy the Midway, we know that's not why they paid $40 to come out there.
That's part of the reason.
It is part of it. I mean, I paid $40 just to come in there and get that drink, so no, I'm just kidding. They're here for literally, Tim said it when we interviewed him, it's the trail that they're there for. Everything else is just a really awesome added bonus. So, let's get down to business. So from the minute you walk in, I'm just going to take it, I'm going to run with it. Minute you walk in, first thing you do, take a picture. Because you want to commemorate that awesome freaking moment with your group.
I want to tag in.
Tag in.
So, the only thing I will say about that, because Ansley's negative, fuck Ansley, we know.
Fuck you, Ansley.
I will say their photo area could be a little bit bigger for bigger groups. There was only 4 of us, and one of us had to kneel.
That is true. I did, yeah.
And these guys put me, one of the shortest ones in the group, actually the shortest one in the group, on the ground. And I got bad knees.
Yeah.
So, and then I got picked on by the ladies taking the picture because they were like, we can't see you. You got to get up. I'm like, I am up.
And then Harrison jumped.
So then Harrison saved my knees and was like, hey, I'll get in the front. But it was the fact that there's only 4 of us, and I mean, I understand the camera has to be, like, it's not that easy in a small hallway to back your camera up.
They can't see you. Why are you doing motion?
I talk with my hands. Leave me alone.
They cannot see you.
I talk with my hands. Leave me alone. Anyway, it's a hallway, obviously, and it's not that big. So I understand that, but I will say there was only 4 of us.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you could zoom out or whatever you need to do, but there was only 4 of us. There should have been no reason that one of us had to be on the ground.
Yeah.
But I also understand that it's a hallway and it's not that easy to just slide the camera back because we were against one wall, the camera was against the other. So if there's any way you could fix that, that would be great.
If you could just fix that for us between now and next year, we would love you for it.
Just a thought is all I'm saying.
Just bulldoze the whole wall. It's fine.
Bulldoze the whole wall. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, no, that's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, yeah, you're very limited on space there. But I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If I'm going to have to pick between a bigger space for us to get a picture versus more room for haunting, I got to take the more room for haunting.
But at the same time, if you're going to do the pictures, you need to be able to do them right.
Yeah, but I'm not buying that picture.
We didn't buy that picture this time. We bought it last
We bought it last time, and yet somehow we didn't have that problem last year, though.
Yeah,
with a bigger group. That's kind of
my
interesting.
So
I don't know.
Maybe they shortened the camera area a little bit to add more room for haunting. I don't know, because I was not in the fabrication process of the haunting area.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that problem. When we had Almost
Well,
10 people.
Nah, we had like one more person. Okay, it's cool that they do that. I just don't like to have to pay for pictures. I mean, there's so many great photo-esque moments out there in the Midway that it's like, why am I gonna spend a little extra money?
Yeah, I did basically an entire photo shoot on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it by any means. If that's your thing, go for it. It's just personally, it's not for me. I very, very rarely will purchase photographs when I go to these haunts, just because it's like, well, I mean, you start to run out of room.
Yeah.
Plus,
especially if you have a group of more than 5 people.
Yeah, but not to mention they give you a very fuzzy picture frame, and I don't like that.
You don't have to get it.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't. The photo actually comes out of that.
I thought like you had to get the fuzzy.
You don't have to get the fuzzy. She asked you if you wanted it last year. But beside the point, irrelevant.
Okay, so you don't have to get the fuzzy, but
I will show you when we get back.
I mean, I know I can take it out. I just thought it had to come with it. Anyways, moving into the haunt. So first thing you come upon before you're even into the actual haunt is the sort of the rules area.
Very Odd Parents, guys. Sorry.
And that is a really cool area. They've zombie-fied it now, and there are a lot of really great moments. It was funny. Harrison, did you stick your hand inside the cage or something?
I did not.
Because I heard, or did you, Ansley?
No.
She just
said it.
She was just acting?
Yeah.
Because I knew I did, and I knew Rae did because she was holding the camera. And so I was like, who is she telling not to stick their hand inside the cage back there? But what did y'all think of that, like, first impressions in that hallway?
Oh, I loved it.
Awesome. It was fucking awesome.
Especially with the flip-flops.
Yeah. You're going to tell them about the flip-flops?
Okay, I guess I'm going to get singled out here.
I got singled out. It's your turn, bitch. Fuck Jeremy.
But no,
Jesus, I'm glad we're explicit now.
The talk, like, that's the real talk.
The talk.
Be quiet.
The birds and the bees.
Yes. No, those actors in there, I mean, they were giving you that, hey, this is what you're about to see.
But they stayed in character the entire time.
They stayed in character the entire time. Yeah. And they just, awesome.
Okay, let Jeremy tell them about the flip-flops.
Okay.
That's it. Everyone's going to get their chance, their moment in the spotlight. So, we get there, and there's a dude who, like, he's hamming it up and acting for us, and is like, hi, welcome, you're going to die. And he looks down at our shoes and does a shoe check for some reason. I don't know what made him do that, or if he always does that. I don't know. But he looks down and he's like, one of these things does not belong here. And you look at everyone's feet. I'm the one person out of the 4 of us wearing flip-flops. And immediately am suddenly getting roasted. He's like, oh, you want to take a leisurely stroll down through the woods in flip-flops. That's lovely. And so yeah, they roasted the fuck out of me, but we're not going to talk about that. Dude, oh yeah, I guess ticks aren't a thing. I don't know. Look, it was nice out. I didn't think I needed to wear good shoes. Okay.
And this is the point.
Reference, Jeremy dresses like a dad on vacation.
Pastor Jeremy, leave him alone. Anyway, I'd like to point out that I got him said flip-flops, and he told me he would never wear them, and he wears them all the time.
They're literally all that I wear. But this is not a fashion show, guys. This is a haunted horror podcast.
He wears them with jeans.
Okay, we're moving on from this talk. So we're gonna we'll sort of break this up a little bit, because as you go through the haunt, it's sort of a house by house thing, because they have several different themes. So we'll try to talk about each one and keep it a little brief, as best as we can, anyways. So the first place you enter when you enter into what is called Mad Labs Corporation is Mad Labs Corporation. And basically, some zombie outbreak has happened, some craziness is ensuing, and zombies are everywhere. Hospitals? What the hell does that mean?
You guys will figure it out later.
Okay. Alright, hospitals. You'll figure it out later. But so obviously me and Ansley have already seen this before, so it really wasn't all that new to us. So I will let Rae and Harrison sort of talk about their thoughts in the first house, the Mad Labs Corporation Zombie Outbreak House.
And we will pick it up after.
So I'm going to let Harrison start
every aspect of it. The haunt actors were just phenomenal. I mean, you have some static figures, but the actors were blending in so freaking well. There's multiple times when we're not even just first house, just walking through, you just see someone standing there. It's like, oh, it's a static figure. Bam, it's a person. And the zombie hall, that's what they did. And it's like, that is awesome.
You guys would be really good at the mannequin challenge.
Yeah. Right?
I liked it a lot. Like he said, I definitely enjoyed the fact that you definitely, there were spots where I was like, oh my god, they were standing so still and then jump out at you. And like Jeremy was saying, I'm not one for, so I've been in the haunt industry for 8 years, and I'm not one to get scared very easily anymore. Like, I'm usually like, oh, there's a person right there, or oh, that was cute kind of thing, or oh, you could have done better kind of thing, but they got me. There were times that you could hear me screaming on the video. Not as much as Jeremy. There were times that they definitely got me for sure in the first house. Wasn't my favorite in the whole haunt, but definitely the top 3.
And the only thing I also have to say, when you walk through, you have to keep your head on a swivel because there's actors on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And they were so freaking good. Oh, my God. They got me a couple times.
I didn't even notice the ones on the floor.
I did.
Oh, yes, I did, because they scared the shit out of me.
Yes, they did.
It's crazy because being in the haunt industry and, like, telling my little haunters not to crawl on the floor because people will tend to kick at you or accidentally step on you. These actors just didn't care. They're just like, they were there. They would pop out on the floor and you're just like, your first instinct is to jump, and I'm afraid I'm going to jump into them.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you come at my feet.
And I was wearing boots, so I had to actually keep my head more on the swivel because I didn't want to step on anyone's fingers, feet, hands. But the first house was awesome. The decoration, the atmosphere was just awesome. And again, hats off to all the haunt actors there. Y'all did phenomenal.
Mr. Reading the Rules guy, appreciated the
I
accent.
love him.
Appreciated the accent. It was great.
All right, Ansley?
So there was a couple of little things that made that house so phenomenal. Me personally, I was at the back of the group because we had 2 cameras rolling and Harrison was in front of me because it was his first time. So I kind of was just, making sure that he didn't freak out because I've never seen Harrison go through a haunted house before and I didn't know how he was going to react. There is one part in that zombie house where I thought he was going to run out for about 2 seconds. They had barrels that rolled towards you, and they were stopped by, beams.
Yeah.
And they started rolling, and he turns and kind of comes back towards me.
But in my defense also, so I'm not a very tall person.
Yes, you are.
No, well,
you're like 6 foot, dude.
Well, those barrels, if your head was at the right angle, oh, you're going to get smacked by them.
Not really.
Oh, no, I almost got hit by them a couple times. And then, we're going to mention this in another house, but there was a part where my head got pushed down.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it got pushed down just a little bit. And it was like, I didn't care. It was like, oh, my God's actually touching me.
We're not on that part yet. Shut up.
I know, but I was more as concerned as, oh, I'm going to smack that with my head. But other than that, I loved it.
I did love that there wasn't, one of my biggest pet peeves at haunted houses are people that are like, boo, oh no, right? At this haunt, and especially in that first house, they were very loud, very in your face,
energetic.
Very energetic, very demure, very mindful.
All right.
Anything else, first house? I mean, for me,
sets were awesome.
I mean, for a lot of it, for me and you, a lot of it's going to be review because we've seen it, at least set-wise.
Some of it, yes.
Now, actor-wise...
But I will say...
Fuck.
Sorry.
No, I'm saying fuck like they were amazing.
F-bomb counter. Anyway, So I will say there was some props that were moved around this year versus like last year, because those barrels were at the end last year.
Oh.
Yeah. And so me being the ADHD being I am, I noticed stuff like that. And I do remember those barrels because I got scared last year because of them. And it was fun to watch Harrison get scared over it. Usually I get to watch Jeremy almost piss himself, and that's usually the extent of me enjoying these haunts, is I get to watch him get the shit scared out of him.
Well, all you got to do is go on YouTube. It'll be there.
Oh, I know. It'll be a fresh little perspective to be able to see somebody else get the shit scared out of them this year. The costuming was pretty great. The only thing I will say, and I know that this is because it is a haunt, and this piece of it was supposed to be like a disaster of a lab. Like you're walking through a disaster that has just happened to this lab. But there was not a lot of lights, and there was a lot of fog. So it was kind of hard to see the scare actors from time to time. So maybe a little bit more balance with the fog would be a little bit better. But at the same time, I know people like Jeremy absolutely love the fog. He absolutely loves those rooms where it is literally just fog and strobe lights. Yep. And you're walking through to find the other side, and you cannot see a foot in front of you. And I personally, if I'm acting, I love to be in those rooms. But if I'm going through, if there is a big set around me and it is not meant to be one of those rooms where you just can't see anything in front of you and that's the whole gimmick, I like to be able to see the set. Because you put so much work and so much effort into making this set and making these characters over and dressing them up so that they fit this scene. It's kind of lost when you can't exactly see them. But from what I did see, they were very made up and very, very well dressed for the scene. So hats off to the makeup department and to the costuming department for this haunt. Huzzah!
And I just to piggyback there, and just so we can sort of shorten things here, so we don't have to, because like I said, we're not going to dive deep into each individual thing this year like we usually do. I mean, we kind of are. I think we can just agree across the board at the whole haunt, in terms of makeup and costuming, just throughout every house, it was done very well. I mean, unless
House could have been a little bit more colorful, but I don't think that they had a lot of black lights there, so that's probably why it didn't. It looked a little bit washed out.
I didn't have that problem, but
I mean, and it could just be me. Like, I will save the rest of this for later on when we actually talk about the clown house, and you'll understand why I may have been a little out of sorts.
Alright, so moving on to the next segment is the Witch's Village.
Yes!
I'm going first. Okay, I'm saying what I have to say first, because there's everything in there is great. I loved it. I mean, it's a Witch's Village. What more can you ask for? But there was one particular thing that I am a fucking stickler for, and if I can see it happen, it's a beautiful thing. They had a live actress in there who performed like an entire little Salem witch sort of skit thing, and like they put a mic on her and everything, and like really made her like she was her own character in this little mini movie you sort of walk through. And for me, that right there, I mean, everything else in that, like, I can't really say anything else about that whole segment of the house. It was great. Everything was done very well. The sets were immaculate. But just the fact that they had this live actress doing her own little spiel on her own little stage too, no less. That for me was just like awesome to see that. I was really impressed by that. Ansley?
So, I absolutely love when any haunt, mostly love when any haunt delves very far into like the witches. I absolutely love it. There's one haunt that we've been to in the past where, I mean, it's great. It's just not everything it's meant to be. It was very cool to see all the caravan basically come through, and there was all these little trailers that you kind of walked through and meandered around and everything. One of them was like a fortune teller on the side, and it was so pretty to me. And I will say pretty because I am really big into the macabre, and some things are like tragically beautiful to me, and this was one of those things. I will say there was one part that made me a little bit sad. There is a scarecrow animatronic, and during the walkthrough video, you will see Jeremy get the shit scared out of him by this thing. But his head fell off.
His head fell off?
His head was gone.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, they had foam around where his neck area was at. So it was kind of noticeable. And I think I found his head, the pumpkin that was in the tree. I think that may have been his head. So it was cool that they repurposed it. Like, maybe just to keep it off the trail. Maybe to just, oh, well, nobody's really going to notice. So here, we'll put this up in this tree and whatever. But walking by it, since it'd been so low, I immediately noticed it. And I hate that because it's such a good animatronic. I have seen it in action, and I have seen it whole. And it is such a wonderful, moment to have this thing jump out at you. And it really did upset me that his head was gone. Or maybe they did it like that on purpose. I don't know. But they had expanding foam around his neck, and he just kind of felt incomplete without his head. So that's all I'm gonna say.
To the backseat. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were finished.
Everything else was amazing. The cauldron, like Jeremy was saying, the actress that was on the stage, she interacted with us very well. The actress that was on the stage that was doing the whole skit, she interacted with the groups very well. So Jeremy and Rae walked through first, and they kind of got away from us because she was kind of bent into the walkway, so me and Harrison hung back a second. And as we were walking by, she sniffs me and says, "Oh, you smell so good. You smell delicious." And I liked it. It was great. It was a wonderful change from "I'm gonna cast a hex on you" or something like that. Something very stereotypically witch-esque. So I absolutely loved it. And then when you come around that corner, there's this witch stirring this cauldron. And it's this big, beautiful, real-looking cauldron. It may have even been real. But the way they had it set up, the only thing I will say is I did not notice any fire under it. Any kind of light to make it look like it was fire, any kind of ember effect, any of that.
No, they were too busy using the real fire in the parking lot, making me shit myself.
But I will say I would have liked to see a little bit more of that. Maybe something for her to stir around. But at the same time, if it is a real cauldron, it would rust if you had something in there. But I kind of would have liked to see something being actually stirred, especially since you're walking right up on it. Anyway, now I am complete.
Okay, to the backseat.
So the Witch's Village, definitely loved the whole fortune teller thing. That was great. I'm not sure if this was part of it because it kind of blended in it after it. But was the chapel part of that?
No, that was a separate thing.
Because there wasn't a name for that, so I'm not sure what part of the haunt that is.
I did miss something.
But for me, I like witches. But I agree with Ansley, the way that they just brought it to life, and it wasn't just a bunch of people hackling and saying that I'm going to put a spell on you or curse you or anything like that. Each and every individual person that played a witch in there had their own lines, their own attitude, their own demeanor. Their own props for that, because I've been to plenty haunts where, you know, multiple people are playing the same type of character and they're all saying the same thing, you know, over and over, and it just gets tiring. So I'll give them that. That's for sure.
Harrison, anything to add about the Witch's Village?
Awesome job.
Harrison is tired.
That's Harrison with sports.
I have one thing. I missed this when I initially went first, whatever, or 1 second. Whenever I said what I said. As we were walking up and we were getting to the fortune teller caravan, I saw another actor from a different area. And I can't even try to trick myself and say, okay, well maybe they're just stalking through as part of this one. No, they were full lab coat and everything. And to their credit, they did try to hide behind the caravan as we were coming up. But if you're gonna go on break and you're gonna sneak to the trailer, try to find a better way to go through. And I have been stuck in areas as a haunt actor where that's not exactly a good spot for you to be stuck because you're so out in the open. But it kind of, if I did not understand the situation, it could have ruined it for me, is all I'm gonna say.
Alright. Moving on to the chapel, or the nun set. Alright, we'll start in the back for this one.
I know that Jeremy's gonna say the same thing because it was one of his favorite parts too, but the girl that was speaking straight up Latin.
Yes.
Oh my God, it was great. And you know, for all those people out there that are like, oh, it is so wrong of you to make fun of Christianity, Catholics, or anything like that, just know that, you know, Tim said in the end interview that, you know, when you have those kinds of religions, you know, you believe in an afterlife, and you believe in, you know, different, you know, the great beyond and all that stuff. So seeing the spooky side of that, you know, is still a good thing. Nobody's making fun of anybody's religion or anything like that, because there are just, you know, sorry, there are things that actually happen like that, you know. Back in the day, you know, people used to believe in possession and, you know, things like that, and priesthood, and that's what I absolutely loved about the chapel, is it seemed like, you know, everybody was possessed in some type of way. You know, something was wrong, and they were, you know, speaking tongue, and, you know, they were trying to communicate with the afterlife, and I loved it. But the girl with Latin, kudos to you, because I could never. Latin's a hard language to learn.
I've always wanted to learn it. Piggybacking off the girl, sorry, hold on.
Ironically, I literally have rosary beads hanging from my mirror right now, and they're clicking as we're talking about the Catholic part.
Okay, so piggybacking off what Rae said a little bit, the girl with the Latin. Girl, you killed it. We were walking through, and yes, you've got all these nuns that are coming out of the woodwork, and they're just kind of circling around you as you're walking through. I walked through, as I said, I was the end of the group, and as I start walking through, this girl immediately jumps into Latin, and she's yelling Latin at me, and it caught me off guard, because I was like, wait a minute, because I'm Christian. I am non-denominational Christian. I love God. I go to church. I am in a Christian rock band. That being said, I was not expecting to go through and to hear somebody literally yelling Latin at me. And it was so funny because, like I said, I was the end of the group, and she looks at me, almost locks eyes under her hood thing. I don't know what it's called. I'm not Catholic. I don't know about nuns. But her hood thing.
Her habit. Her habit. Yes, that is what that is called. Catholicism with Jeremy.
Anyway, besides the point irrelevant.
Back to Ansley with sports.
she, like, we locked eyes, and she just starts, out of the blue, speaking Latin. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And then, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but on the altar, one of the nuns popped up because that thing spun around.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
As we're coming around, she spun it back around to meet us on the other side.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I caught that.
And then, after she got her scare, she spun it back around, and there was a picture of a nun on the other side.
Huh.
And it just looked like another part of the wall. Had she not been there, and had I not witnessed it, I would have thought it was just part of the set. And it was very, very interesting to see. I love when you can come up with creative things in that haunt. And it wasn't just like, oh, we might get copyrighted, Jeremy might have to bleep this or whatever, but The Exorcist. A lot of haunts do The Exorcist, and they'll have the whole bed scene where it like lifts up and slams back down. They didn't have that.
Not this year anyways.
Not this year. They repurposed it. And it is a very good theme. It's just so overplayed, especially if you have a church scene at all in your haunt, or like any kind of religious scene. That always manages to like find its way in there. And it was so nice to be able to see that, like see a church-esque thing without seeing The Exorcist put in there. Anyway, back to Jeremy with sports.
Huh. Yeah, so literally that whole chapel nun scene was my absolute favorite part of the whole thing. Because, as I said, I am Catholic, so anytime I get to see that portrayed in some way, that is always a cool thing. And like we said, we got to talk with Tim a little bit about it afterwards, and, you know, he made some really cool points about, you know, like, being Christians, we can do, like, we can bring awareness to that sort of thing, and, you know, it was just really neat. But that was my favorite part. I love the set design. Like, you walked up and you just see this immaculate church. It's like,
and as you're walking in, it was,
yes,
it wasn't just a white building, like inside.
Like, yeah, they actually like did up like
they decorated it like a church.
Yeah, you looked up and there was like a little chandelier sort of thing, and then like you walked down through the middle, like the pews were all set up. It stained glass windows.
I would have went to church in there.
It literally, like, if there was not a bunch of creepy ass nuns hanging around, you could have literally turned on the lights, and like Sunday morning we could have gone up in there and had Sunday service. It looked like an actual church. So that whole aesthetic was just absolutely mind-blowing to me. The little post part after it, like, you come back through like, it's almost like you're going down into the catacombs of the church. So they like had all this like rock work, which to be a little picky, just because that's what I do, you could tell that the rock work was like styrofoam, and it looked kind of fake. Like, if you have an eye for that thing, you noticed it. But
I didn't even notice the rock work.
Well, I noticed the rock work, and you could, like, I could see what they were going for. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail work and things done to that to make it look a little bit more authentic, but that's just being super freaking nitpicky, and it did not affect the overall experience at all for me, because you got down into the next room and there was more nuns, and a bunch of them looked stagnant, and then boom, out of nowhere they move at you and
there was two in there.
Scare the shit out of you. But all, just like, I really can't say anything else. That whole house was just like freaking amazing. I love the general aesthetic of that. And then you move into the next house, which was sort of their, I guess it was meant to be like their vampire sort of house.
That's at least what it was last year.
I'm assuming that's what I will say. It
was hard to tell the theme.
Yeah, I didn't really get the theme of that house this year. All I knew is that you entered into this really creepy looking house, and there was a lot of people running around after each other.
Yeah, this plantation-style looking house.
Right, but I'm not really sure what it was meant to be. And it was a cool house. Like I said, there's not a whole lot for me to say about it, I don't think. Other than it was cool. They did a great job in there. Actors did a great job. It was something that I saw last year, so I'm not really going to have a whole lot to say on that part. Ansley, Rae Harrison, any of you have anything to say about that?
Well, Harrison's probably asleep back there.
Yeah, probably.
So
Harry, go night-night.
Yeah, Harry went night-night. Anyway, I liked it. That front area when you first walk in, there was so much going on actor-wise, which was fine because honestly, there's not a lot you can do with that space. Yes, there is a little bit of furniture. You know, you have your like chandelier in the corner. That's really cool. But like, there's not a lot you can do because it's literally just a hallway. And so at those places, you do kind of need a lot of actors to draw your eyes away from the fact that there's not a lot you can do with that. I mean, yes, you can put like pictures and stuff on the wall, but as I said, it's a plantation-style home looking facade or building entrance. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Besides the point of relevant, there's a lot going on. You have your victims. You have your vampires, I think. There wasn't a lot to tell me that they were vampires, though. We're just kind of going off of what it was last year because, like I said, there's not a... The theming was unclear.
Yeah.
But you did have, like, a coffin in the corner with one girl, and she had blood all over her neck and her chest. And then, like, you had another girl standing right next to her, and she had it all over her mouth. So I'm guessing it was zombies. I mean, not zombies, vampires. Of course, since the front is open, more or less, you had your vampires that would hang out, like, outside of the window at you as you're walking up. But if you don't really, like, if you're not, like, with an eye for detail and you won't notice all of everything that these actors have going on, it would be really, really hard to tell. So, I mean, it could be vampires, it could be cannibals. We don't know.
Yeah. Rae, what did you think of that house?
I'm so sorry, I was listening to part of that.
The house after the chapel.
I didn't like it much. She said I was kind of confused about not the Texas one, right?
No.
I was really confused about what it was. Wasn't really sure. I feel like it was kind of just like a spacer, maybe, like, you know, they weren't really sure what to put there, kind of thing. So they just kind of threw a bunch of characters into one room, and it was just like, all right, have at it, have fun.
Yeah.
Which is great. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you just have to be like, you know, here's a small little spacer between this big area and this big area, which could have been used more for like an animatronic kind of thing, more of like little jump scares probably would have been better in that situation. But actors were good, you know, they did their part, they did what they had to do, but it was just kind of confusing. That's all I gotta say about that one.
Alright, so we move from there into everybody's, well, I won't say everybody's favorite because I think everybody here is a little critical of it. But you go to a haunted house, what are you going to have?
Clown house.
Clowns. So, who wants to talk about the clowns first?
Ansley had a lot to say about clowns.
Okay, so, when you first go in there, like I said, the facade is beautiful. They pride themselves on their facades. They have to. There's no way that they don't know how good of a job that they do on these facades. They are like larger than life. And it's painted all bright and like there's all kinds of lights on it. But as you go in, I don't remember seeing a lot of black lights, so the colors didn't pop a lot. And I understand, clown house, you're acting all crazy, you're going to have a lot of lights, because if you don't, then you could get like, injured. But I'm not going to harp too much on the paint job because, like, it didn't stand out much to me, so I didn't notice a lot about it. What I will say is they had a puppet. They had a puppet, like, right when you walk into one of the doors. And I had a group behind me, and I was trying to hold the flaps open for them, the little door thing. Well, I got separated from our group because this puppet came all the way out to the other side of the wall. And, you know, kind of my fault because I was trying to be nice and keep this door open for the two people that ended up behind us. Shout out to those two because they were very polite about the fact that we had to walk a little bit slower. So shout out to you guys. You're real ones. Anyway, this puppet comes out for Rae and Jeremy, and me and Harrison are stuck in the back. And then me and Harrison get separated, and he's like pinned up against the wall by this thing because it's got these huge hands. And then it like backs up a little bit, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I can go now. As I'm going to go out, they told me I got mollywopped by this clown.
She's not the only one. That same clown came out with its damn hand, and it like literally knocked the hell out of the camera and actually started to close the camera in my hand. I'm like, oh shit, and thank God it didn't close it all the way because we would have lost all the recording.
Yeah, and so the way it was, you got your doorway, and these two people were coming in. Harrison stuck over here in between its hands, and I get pushed up against the wall and kind of just like rubbed by this giant hand. And so I had to duck under and almost crawl to get back to my group. And I don't know how the other two got out of there, but that next piece of it was kind of a blur for me because I was still recovering from getting mollywopped by a clown. Thankfully, Harrison was right in front of me so I could just grab his t-shirt and kind of wander through. But they did some very, very good things with static props. You won't really get to hear this until the next episode, but there was one room that we went through where it had a bunch of like clown dolls. Not dolls, mannequins. Clown mannequins. And they were just all over the place and everything. Well, the way they did it, and I don't know if it's because I was so disoriented from getting mollywopped or what, but I did not notice anything at their feet or anything at their heads hanging them up. Well, I take that back. They had this really cool mechanism thing, and it was like the entire roof. And all these clowns were tied up to it, and they were shifting side to side. So you were like constantly getting battered around in this room by these like clown mannequins. And all the while, you didn't have the actors that were trying to hide amongst the clowns. They were actually like popping up at different areas so that you had to look at them, and then boom, you're getting hit with another clown, and oh, there's somebody over here. Boom, another clown as you turn around. They actually played that up very, very good. So moving on, they had a very, very popular clown that I'm not going to say because I ain't trying to get us copyrighted.
It was Terrifier, it's fine.
Actually, it was Art the Clown.
Art the Clown from Terrifier.
The clown with the really cute sunflower sunglasses. Yay! He popped out and he did his little horn, and it was a lot of fun. The vortex. So I get really, really dizzy going through those, and I cannot walk straight, which is the point. But for me,
loser.
Well, the reason that I was having such a hard time with that was because the people in front of me were going so slow.
I can't imagine who those people were.
I can't imagine.
I bet they were holding cameras.
And then it was also made a little bit more difficult because you had this one clown girl that was walking through and she was kind of weaving through the groups to make you have to move off one side or the other of this bar that you hold on to. Because for anybody who goes through these spiraling tunnels that have the walkway through them, you know how hard it is to walk because it's an optical illusion. Your brain thinks that you are going in a full circle as you're going straight. So you were wobbling all over the place. And this clown girl took full advantage of that. I couldn't figure out the word for a second there. Took full advantage of that, and she was weaving through the crowds to make you have to move off these walls, to make you that little bit more unsteady, and she was just walking straight through like there was nothing wrong.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was great. Kudos to you, girl. And then the doll room was in there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they combined the doll stuff with the clown stuff.
I really wish Harrison was awake because he doesn't like dolls. He doesn't like them at all. And so I was having to hold on to his shoulders for this one mainly because it made him uneasy. And this was the main room where they were just everywhere. They were on the floors. There's this huge crib that they were in.
It was
and
great.
They were just everywhere. The doll room was very well decorated. They had like doll pieces on the wall. Like there is this one piece of, I don't know what to call it, like this piece of set. It is an arm. That's all it is, but it's opened up and there's like all kinds of wires throughout it. So it's like a mechanical kind of like robot arm. And then immediately after you pass that and you turn this corner, Megan's there.
Oh yeah.
Or like somebody that's dressed like Megan. The blonde wig, the little dress, the striped sleeves, all of that. I will say though, it was very, very hot in those rooms.
I didn't notice.
I did. And I'm anemic, so I stay at least 10 degrees colder than everybody else. Anyway, so she's there immediately as you turn around. And we all know she's a fan favorite. She's in most of the haunts now, because that was a pretty creepy movie, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I love that they added that in. I'm a little fuzzy on the details after that.
I mean, Clown House in general for me was a clown house. I got scared. The puppet got me. My only note in Clown House was I wish that Art the Clown had more light on him.
Yes.
Because 2 years in a row he popped out and I couldn't really see him. I knew he was there, but it was very, very dark. Maybe that was by design. But like you could not hardly see him at all. So there's a good chance in the video version you won't see him, but you'll hear us. I'll be like, oh my God, it's Art the Clown.
But at the same time, number one, you don't really like clown houses in haunts. You think they're overdone. I've heard you say it multiple times.
Yeah, you're right.
And number two, Art the Clown he's basically kind of like a mime in like a clown costume. He is the black and white aesthetic. So it's very hard to see him anyway.
That's true.
Because your eyes are constantly looking for stimulation. So, yes, I do agree with you. They probably should have put a little bit more light on Art the Clown just because he's pretty featured. And he is one of those characters that you're like, oh my gosh, it's him. Anyway.
But yeah. So, next house after that was Phobia.
We all liked Phobia.
Phobia was really good.
So Phobia is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It plays on people's fear of creepy crawlies. Is that where the Coochie hallway was?
Yes.
Yeah. Claustrophobia.
He woke up for Phobia.
Welcome back, buddy. anyway, yeah, like creepy crawlies, your phobia of like closed spaces, snakes. That's part of creepy crawlies.
Apparently alligators.
Yes, alligators.
Also, if you have a phobia of animatronics that are like submerged in water type shit.
Not phasmophobia, submechanophobia.
Yeah.
I love submechanophobic.
Because that was the moment they got all three of them.
Okay, to be fair, it was a very well placed scare.
To be fair.
Because I don't know if it was a puppet or an animatronic, but as you're coming into this, like from this doorway, you come onto this bridge, and it's like there's a sewer drain across from you, and you don't see it at first, but it starts coming out at you really quick, and it's this big alligator head, like huge alligator head. Like we're talking like Lake Placid size alligator. And so your eyes are so focused on this alligator that when the floor drops, it scares the absolute shit out of you. And like I have previously said, I have bad knees. And so I usually am very good about looking at like for things like this so that I know to bend my knees as I'm walking and not just walk regular. Yeah, I did not notice that at first. I almost went flying.
She almost went flying. Rae almost went flying. Harrison almost went flying.
And I think we all collectively yelled, "Oh fuck."
Even, like, I knew it was coming because that is one effect that has been there every single year that I've gone.
And I always forget about it.
But it was so gratifying to just, like I've heard Ansley get scared a time or two, but it doesn't happen often. I've never heard Rae get scared, and I've never seen Harrison get scared. So the fact that all three of them collectively let out this, "Oh shit," and like little squeals and whatnot. And I just turn around and I'm like, it got them.
That was with all y'all and the motherfucking animatronics getting way too fucking close. Because I was nose to nose with that alligator, man. That thing was right up on me. I'm just like, if I wasn't paying attention, I probably would have ran dead smack into that thing.
It's like we were at Netherworld for a second. And while we're on the topic of me getting scared, I forgot to mention this when I was talking about what we called the vampire house because we didn't know what else to call it. I will say, or no, actually it was the church. It was as we were walking out of the church. As we were walking out, there was this guy behind the door that we come out of. And he popped out and he scared the shit out of me. I will not even lie about it. I was like, "Oh shit! Oh hey! You're there! Thanks for that. That was a good scare." And it's usually jump scares that get me anyway. So that's why. And sometimes I can see them coming because like I know what drop down windows and da-da-da look like. But anyway, it scared me. Back to the story.
So yeah, you had the drop down with the alligator. That scared all of them. Literally, next room, you had this little thing where a snake came out. All three of them.
It didn't scare me.
That one didn't get you?
No.
It definitely got Rae, because I saw her, like, jump like a mile backwards. I was like, it's like, damn, she got scared twice.
Basilisk!
But it's okay, because while I laughed at all of their fear, they soon got to laugh at my fear. But not before we had a very funny, not so funny, but yet we still laughed about it, moment of Ansley's fear. Tell them what it is, Ansley.
Fucking coochie hallways!
If you don't know what a coochie hallway is, then you haven't been listening to us long. Coochie hallways is those hallways with the two inflatable whatevers you call them. Airbags that basically squish together, and it feels like you're coming out of your mother's you-know-what at birth again.
I will say, though, this one wasn't as inflated as some of the ones I've been through.
True, it wasn't, but it did feel like it was longer than most.
It was.
And it was funny, because right before we go in, we all, like, we have a rule before we enter a coochie hallway. we all are supposed to link up and we move as fast as we can through it. Because for one thing, nobody wants to be stuck in those things. Think of all... Huh? Claustrophobia at its finest. And germs. And so we have a rule. You link up and you run through that bitch. Well, Jeremy apparently ran a little bit too fast because Rae lost him. It wasn't holding on to him at the end. And then I just sort of wait for the rest of them to come out and you see them all tumble out at the end like it's something out of a cartoon or something.
This one was all the way to the ground. A lot of them aren't, right? Like most of them are just kind of like mid-waist and up. This one was all the way to the ground. So as I'm holding on to you, I'm tripping over the bottom of it with my feet because I'm trying to keep up with you. And I'm like, I'm going to face plant in this coochie hole and actually die of suffocation. Because everybody's going to trample me and I'm going to die.
So, one of the reasons that we have the move as fast as you fucking can through these coochie hallways is because usually I'm behind somebody. And if I'm not behind somebody when these come up, I get behind somebody. Because I have to bury my face in someone's back to make it through these. And a lot of the time, Jeremy likes to walk as slow as humanly possible and get cussed out in the worst possible way. In fact, you'll hear about this next episode, but there was a haunted house we went through, and it was just like from the waist down, but we had already been sweating, and it was sticking to me, and I was like, if you don't fucking move, I will kill you! Yeah. I do not condone violence, but
she has anger issues when coochie hallways come out.
I threatened to kill him because I was like, if you don't fucking move, I'm gonna grab you and I'm gonna throw you. Yeah. So we have the rule where if you do not move your ass through this hallway, Ansley's come after you. Anyway, side point irrelevant.
So the other phobia that we all
taking off points for the coochie hallway.
Yeah, whatever. Didn't affect it that bad. Anyhow.
Taking off points for the coochie hallway.
Anyhow. The next phobia that everyone got to laugh at me about was the spiders. Luckily, they did not play into it as much as they really could have. I feel like they could have made it so much worse.
It was...
Yes.
It was a very, very well decorated area, but it was very boring.
I liked the use of the projection to make it look like spiders were crawling on things. I liked all of the spider webs that you saw throughout there. What I would have liked to have maybe seen was they could have used what we call in the haunt industry, or at least we call it in the Horror Nights haunt industry, SIF, which is stuff in face. Oh.
They did. They used, they had fishing line. You walked in.
I didn't even notice that. So apparently it did not affect me as much as I thought it would have. But that tends to help and make you feel like you got spider webs all in your face and whatnot. I don't know. I would have maybe liked to see, like, I think this
like
is
a contortionist actor or something.
Right, or maybe this is one instance where it's okay to have some cheap fake spiders sort of everywhere. Like, it would have worked because it was very dark in the hallway where the spider webs were. So, I mean, you could have used some more fake spiders. They did have a big spider something at the end of it.
It looked like an animatronic, but it never did anything.
That's it never moved for any of us. It didn't do anything, so, yeah. Or it could have been, maybe they didn't have the actor, because it might have been a puppet that was puppeteered by an actor. Who knows? So that was a little disappointing. It didn't do anything. But apart from that, Phobia House was a very strong newcomer this year. I enjoyed that. Anybody else have anything to say about Phobia? Oh, yeah, because there was...
They had some actors there.
Oh, yeah, there was like a...
And they had possums in there as well.
Yeah, there was possums and mice, that sort of thing, yeah.
And that was actually an actor. But it was just like, kind of like a gray bodysuit and a rat mask.
Yeah.
Which I would have liked to see a little bit more fur on it, maybe, so that I felt a little bit more like it was not an actor as much as it was a giant mutant
wants to Google out in the middle of nowhere?
I don't think we have enough service for that.
Yeah. All right. Phobia House. Anything further, Your Honor?
It was interesting, and it was really good at the beginning, and then it died off.
Yeah. Moving on to Ansley's favorite.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, they called it the Texas area.
The Texas. Okay. So, according to legal copyright reasons, no, you will not see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at Madworld Haunted House.
Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Bump, bump.
But you will visit Texas, and there might be a massacre.
And there's a family of cannibals.
And a guy who wears a face of leather.
And carries a chainsaw. Anyway, besides being irrelevant, I absolutely loved it. Because I am a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw franchise. And I will say franchise because there was maybe one movie in that entire franchise that I did not like. It knows who it is. Anyway, beside that. So, unlike the rest of the houses, you actually had like an area leading up to going into the actual house. And you had like this whole skit going where this girl would run out at you, and then the family would wrestle her into this van that was off to the side. And like you were getting invited in for dinner, and there was a flamethrower, and it was awesome. But you got a whole little skit out of it, and then you come up to the house, and you immediately know this house. And then you walk through the door, and you see the tin door that's in the actual movie, and somebody is like beating on it and poking their face through the hole that wasn't supposed to be there, but at the same time it actually did kind of add to it, so I was very surprised by that. And you're walking through, and there's all these victims being like grabbed and manhandled by the family, quote unquote. And I will stop here until we get catched up and let somebody else speak.
Anybody have anything to say about Texas Chainsaw?
The girl in the beginning, the blonde one, where she's, running and screaming, and they, grab her and drag her onto the porch, and they were, like, dragging her on the porch.
Oh, I didn't see anybody get drunk on the porch. I saw her get thrown in the van.
Yeah, she was on the porch, and that's when you first enter right there into the Texas area at the house, and she was phenomenal. I loved it. And, I love when someone's playing a victim, when they literally play it like somebody's murdering them. Like, if you're gonna play a victim, I don't want to hear, somebody help me, please, oh no. I want to hear full-on scream queen motherfucking screams. I want to hear like you actually dying, to where I have to like look at you and make sure you're not actually dying. Like, if I'm looking at you in like terror, like, are you okay? Then I think you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Because that's how I play victim.
That's how I play victim too. My very first night of haunting. Anyway.
I don't have much to say about it. It was great. It was, I'm not going to say it was exactly the same as it was last year, but, it was very, like, intense, actors everywhere. It was, it was top-notch. It was, like, it would literally, like, in a way, almost felt like you walked into a film set, like, for that particular one.
And I loved it.
But that's all I really have to say about it. The little post section afterwards, because it was almost like you went through the house and then you got like a tag sort of like onto the end of it where you came up to the gas station and all that, and so like the story continued a little bit.
Hold on, we're not there yet.
Well, I figured I would go ahead and take us there.
No, we missed like 90% of the house by you jumping.
Yeah, I definitely like the kitchen dining room scene too.
Yeah, so like as you're walking through this hallway, of course you've got the people that are being manhandled and like I said earlier. You walk into this kitchen, and you've got the family sitting there for their meal, and there was one guy dropping eyeballs onto a plate, and there was a girl under the table, and there was somebody at the end, and they were like, they had her tied up, and they were trying to feed her. And then you walked past it, and my absolute favorite horror icon was there.
A guy with a face of leather.
Yes, I can say it. They can't. Leatherface was there, and me being the nerd I am, I was jumping up and down and clapping like a little kid, and he did it back to me. We had a whole interaction, and it was amazing. And whoever was playing Leatherface, I love you. We can be friends. The poor girl behind me, though, she was not having it. She has a big fear of chainsaws. Because he was coming up to me and like chainsawing and like doing his interaction with me, and this girl was literally on my back. She had her face buried in my back. Her poor boyfriend was trying to pull her away from me, and she was locked in. Because she was like, this girl is over here clapping and laughing with this serial killer, and I am not about to get got. I will sacrifice her. It's what she would have wanted. And as we come around, he like hits the chain link fence with the chainsaw, and there was a couple little sparks. Chainsaws don't spark that very well on fences, but it was great. It was amazing. I wish they would have added some flint to the edges of his chainsaw so that when he did do that, there would be more sparks like a slider. But I understand why they couldn't have done that, because I don't know what everything that's in there, and I don't know how flammable anything is in there. Yeah, but they didn't have one in the house. So, like, as we're walking out, then Jeremy's gas station scene that he really liked.
With a flamethrower.
And the flamethrower.
When we say flamethrower, we mean flame geyser. It's not, there's not, like, fucking, yeah, it's...
The old glory of flamethrowers.
Yeah, it's going up towards the sky.
Shooting up past the height of the trees.
Yes.
All right. Anything you have to say about this?
About Texas Chainsaw
Yes.
World? Nope. It was great.
Jeremy's not a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw.
Well, I mean, we saw it last year. I mean, there's not a whole lot to really say further about it, you know?
I will always be excited about it.
Whoever was playing, oh god, what's his face?
Leatherface?
No.
The Hitchhiker?
Yep, there you go. That's the guy. Whoever was like playing, you know, going off of what Hitchhiker is like in the movie and whatnot, kudos to you too, because, you know, he's a very fun character.
Yes.
And
We got to actually meet the original actor in person.
We did. That was fun. You know, and if anybody, I don't know, you know, I've played a redneck cannibal in our home haunt, and it's one of my favorite things to play, other than a crazy asylum character. But if you know, you know, getting to play a crazy redneck is always fun. So.
Well, if that is it for Texas.
One more thing.
Nope.
I will say, there was one kid in there that had the look of the Hitchhiker, and unfortunately he was playing a victim.
Oh, the guy that was laying on the ground?
He was on the couch.
Yeah,
he looked just like the Hitchhiker.
Sure did.
And I think he would have been more, like, suited visually for that character, but at the same time, I know everybody, like, I feel like skill set would be a little bit different, and maybe he had a better skill set for a victim rather than Hitchhiker. But at the same time, and like I said, like we told y'all, this was their very first night for the season, opening night. So, I mean, there is a possibility that this kid could be this person could be playing the Hitchhiker later on in the season. Hopefully, because he would match very well with that character, like visually appealing wise. Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out, because that is something that I stopped and I was like, man, that's a missed opportunity. Anyway.
All right, moving on from Texas. Yeah, and to what I thought was a wonderful segue, we mentioned an asylum. What happens to me next? The asylum, which means we're nearing the end of the haunt.
10 out of 10. Oh my god, absolutely. Would totally 10 out of 10 would recommend again.
I'd go crazy.
I'd go crazy. Like, if you have sensory issues, this area is going to be a little bit difficult for you because it was loud, it was wild, it was all over the place, but it's an asylum. Like, what did you expect? I think I really enjoyed the girls that were like chained to the chairs, and one was kind of like floating. You know, like she was like on a ledge in that room.
The other one was a prop.
I don't know who was a prop and who was real at that point.
Well, the girl that was screaming, "I'm not crazy," she was real.
And the other girl was a prop. So the one that was screaming, "I'm not crazy" on the ledge, Jesus Christ, because I thought I was crazy at that point. By the time we got to her, yeah, I've played my fair share of asylum characters, and like they were saying, you'll hear in the interview with Joe and them that they actually had quite a bit of actors tonight. You know, so they were very well compensated over the amount of people they had. So normally, you know, you'd expect maybe 6 people max in a scene like that. You know, in a house.
Y'all stuffed asylum when I was working asylum.
Oh, we would
y'all stuffed it to the max.
We would stuff it to the max because crazy is crazy. You know, like that's your breaking point. But it was great. The scenes were great. The props were great. I think the doctor scene could have been a little bit better. Maybe some spewing blood.
I thought it was really good.
It was
they
good.
Couldn't exactly spew the blood. They could spray water on you.
Yeah, like water, like a water effect, you know, kind of thing. But like maybe more blood on the actor that was getting her, you know, intestines dismembered.
Yeah, I will say that.
Like she could have had more blood.
It was a very cool scene. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know many people who do that.
And then that's like, if you've ever heard any of our other things that I'm in on the show or the podcast, one of my favorite things and one of the things I look for in a lot of haunted houses is grotesque. I want something grotesque and gruesome in some of those scenes that, you know, can definitely handle it. And that scene could have definitely been a little bit more, you know, just a little more bloody.
And our wonderful Russian nurse that met us at the door. She is one of my favorite characters at Madworld. I don't know why. She just is.
It's the Russian voice.
Maybe. And the stilettos and the black gloves. Like, I love her. I love her so much. And she, like, meets you at the door. Because as you're coming in, she'll stick her hand out. And she's got this glove. And she's, like, beckoning you in. Anyway, she was great. I loved her contacts. I don't know if y'all noticed. But, like, stickler for details, and I absolutely loved her contacts.
And the red hair.
I did not notice that she had red hair, so I was too busy looking at her eyes.
Well, I was looking at other aspects.
I love the added, like the Silent Hill nurses that were added into there. And this is
Silent Hill. It's a very creepy movie.
It's a very creepy video game. I have never made it all the way to the end of Silent Hill. You know, factorials with Ansley. But, no, you walk in and there's all these people walking around. They had people on crutches. They had people on wheelchairs. They had people sitting on things, under things. Like they were crawling. They were rolling. They were everywhere. There was several times where I had to, like, check my feet and make sure that I was not about to step on anybody's fingers or toes. Because they were literally everywhere. And this is the point in the video where I explain what I mean by hospitals. And you'll hear this again in, like, the next episode. And I know that we are going back and forth from this episode to last episode in terms of, like, telling you about this stuff. But the next episode that you're going to hear, I say something about the fact that in every haunt you have to have a hospital scene. That is why I said hospital scene earlier. Because you have either, like, like, you have a lab, you have a doctor's office, you have an asylum. I have heard of people doing vets before, but never have personally seen that. Hopefully we'll get to see that sometime this year, but maybe not. But you always have some sort of hospital scene in a haunted house. And so I said hospital. But anyway, you've got all of these people coming through, and they are like everywhere. They're in your face, they're beside you, they're behind you. They are engulfing your group at points.
I also really enjoy like how, because there are so many people in that just one area, that the staging and the space that they created for those actors. If you've ever been to a lot of haunted houses, there's a lot of narrow, walkways. There's a lot of narrow areas, but they built it to where it's a room. It's an actual scene. It's a room, and you can put more than one person in that room or in that scene without somebody getting hurt or somebody getting stepped on. Trying to do like whatever they're doing. And I enjoyed that a lot.
And the amount of people that were in there actually brought you into the scene, because it was like walking into an asylum where all the patients have kind of, more or less taken over. And like you are either walking in like you're trying to help, or you're walking in as a patient, and it kind of puts you in that scene with them. There was several things that I wish, would have been a little bit better. There was a couple like saws and stuff that I wish would have moved, because some of them were very static. They were not moving. Some of them I remember moving from last year, and they didn't move this year. And I don't know if it was, first night, things are bound to go wrong. That was just one of the things that went wrong, or what. Maybe it worked earlier in the night. Who knows? But there was one part at the very end. You're walking through this room, and there is a patient on a bed with a saw blade in his stomach, and it's like hooked up to something. So I feel like it should have moved. Yeah, like something. And there was an actor in there, but honestly, they really didn't do much. And okay, maybe it was because they were playing a character, and I know personally sometimes if I'm working asylum and it gets to be at that point in the night where I'm kind of just through, I will sit there and I will just act like I've had a lobotomy. Like sitting there and like got my head to the side, maybe some drool coming out, like I've had a lobotomy, like I'm just kind of out of it, like I'm mentally a vegetable.
Especially if you've been screaming and going crazy for
yes.
the majority of that night. It's towards the end, or in between, like, scenes, definitely go, like, just kind of like limp, just be like, vegetable.
Yep.
Dead.
Basically dead, still there, like, your presence is still there. And it's just kind of eerie, but it gives you, like, time to, like, mentally prepare for the rest of the night. So, Asylum, again, it was another piece of it where it was, like, balls to the wall. It was great for the most part, and then it died out at the end.
One of my top 3, by the way. So, Asylum, Phobia, and the first scene that we saw, top 3.
All right. Well, there's nothing left for me to say about Asylum. They said it all.
Sorry. Hydrate, everyone.
So, the very last house.
And I wish Harrison was awake for this one.
Very last house was their ode to the Wolfman stuff of the early days. And, it was alright. I love the idea of the wolves coming after you and whatnot, because I know that's, Joe told us last year that's his favorite, like, monster is the wolves, and he loves werewolves and that sort of thing. Only thing I did not care for was the actors in that particular building. There was a lot of, get out, they're coming, like, it was all, like, it literally went, like, you had this awesome caliber all the way until you got to that last room, and it was like, oh shit, what is happening here? And then in the very last scene of the whole thing, there's a guy dressed as a wolf, and it was almost like he gave up on us. Like he saw us coming, and he just didn't really do anything to scare us or try to scare us. Cause yeah, he didn't even do anything to try to scare us. And so I think that was my big thing. So I really feel like the last house, the concept is there. It's just falling flat because of just the way the actors are portraying things there at the end. So that's really all I have to say about that ending.
So when you first come up, as you're walking onto a porch, it doesn't look like a military base, which kind of throws you off because, I mean, maybe it's supposed to, maybe it's not, but it doesn't look like it's supposed to be a military base. Like the outside facade of it, all these other houses have like these great, big, beautiful facades, and this one's just, like you're walking up onto Grandma's back porch. But you're walking up to this door, and this army guy comes barreling out, and he's falling all over the ground, and he's like, they're everywhere, I don't know what to do. You can't go through there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he was saying bees or beast.
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, he was like, the bees are here, the beasts are here. I guess he's saying beast because it's a werewolf themed, but I couldn't understand him, what he was trying to say.
Yeah, that first box, as you're coming in, the one that the guy's shooting at, I could be wrong, but I remember there being like some kind of growling or something.
I mean, there also could have been, for me, could have been, like, when he's shooting at the box, there could have been some flashing lights every time he shot the gun to make it mimic, like, shooting.
Well, he had it was like an air cannon. But, like, he didn't shoot as we were going past, and at the same time, I do kind of get it with the gun safety thing, and you don't want them to think that you're shooting at you, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I would have liked to see a little bit more. Not just as you're walking through, like something happening. Not just him yelling at you to go, get through there, get through there. I would have loved to hear some military terms.
Alrighty, y'all, this is Rae. She's heading out. We got to my house. I love y'all. Last house could have done a lot better. Not one of my favorites.
Well, what is your rating overall for
Madworld?
For Madworld, scale of 1 to 5.
1 to 5. I'm gonna give you guys a 4.5.
4.5, solid.
4.5 screams. Gotcha. This is Rae signing off. This is not Ansley and Jeremy and Harrison if he wants to chime in, because we're not to Harrison's house yet. But anyway, so I would have liked to see a little bit more in that area, and I would have liked to hear a little bit more military terms. I would like to see a little bit more in that area. It was, honestly, it was along the lines of somebody yelling boo. One of the things you do not do as a haunt actor is yell get out. And he was telling us to get out. And I kind of turned my head and looked at him like, dude, really? And we were walking through, and like, you've got all these boxes, and it looks like a military, like you're walking through a military base inside. Like I said, the outside did not match the inside. Whereas all the outsides of all the other ones, even the ones that were not that great towards the end, had these big, beautiful facades. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? And, I mean, you get like the little flashes of the werewolf here, and like you get military guys there. You've got the dummies that are ripped to pieces and everything, and the guts spilling out. And that one was really gory and everything. And I will say, it had some very good qualities. Like, I love the bungee.
Oh, yeah.
The bungee actor was great.
That was a very nice touch.
But I felt like they had a lot more light on him last year.
Yeah, I didn't see him, really.
Yeah, like, you would see him, and if they did the same thing as last year, because this Last year, they had him full nose to toes, complete werewolf.
Yeah.
And he was on this bungee, and he would jump out at you and hop back up, and it was that sudden, oh shit, there's the wolf. But now it's just kind of, you hear his feet hit the pavement, and that's it.
Yeah.
And yes, it is a very good jump scare, nonetheless. But it's that little bit of extra about being able to see the wolf.
Right.
And see him coming out at you. And last year, they had somebody across from him with a fake gun, like, pointing it at him. Like, oh, get down, get down. Yeah. This year, they didn't exactly do that. And I don't know if it was because that actor was on break, or maybe they spent all their actors in the asylum or whatever, and were just like, hey, it's fine.
No, there was an actor there. He was just, he wasn't saying it. He was like, go, you gotta go.
Oh. See, sometimes I tune out. Go. Get out. Boo. Roar. I tune those out because I know. Shout out to Brandy. Our actor-director used to tell us that if she heard that come out of our mouths, that she was pulling us and we weren't allowed to act for the rest of the night. So we were very careful about not saying those things because they're so overplayed, and it's, okay, yeah, we get it. We're supposed to not be in here, but like, why? Why are we not supposed to be in here? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I just tuned it out, but I didn't even notice him.
Oh yeah, no, he was there.
Yeah, and then the rest of it, the cheesiest thing happened at the very end, and it kind of ruined it, but the chainsaw guy brought it back. You're, like, at the end of this hunt, and you've got your military guy catching your attention, and you've got the scare actor that's dressed as a werewolf, and he's just kind of in the corner. And then you had another, like, stoic prop up on a box, like, right beside the door. And it was a very cheesy prop. Madworld, I love you. You have my heart. Please get rid of that wolf, or at least make him look better. Because he looked like a bad taxidermy. And it was like, oh, okay, there's the wolf. I know Jeremy has people in his family that are really big Disney fans, and so he will know when I say this. Disco Yeti turned Disco Wolf. And I'll let him explain in a minute if he wants to.
I'm not explaining that.
But it was literally just this bad taxidermy wolf on a box right beside the door and a strobe light. I mean, at least put a fan on him so that the wind blows his fur around and it makes it look a little bit more like he's moving. Something. But the eyes, super fake. Like, do something with him. Put him in a corner where I can just barely see him. You dim him down just a little bit. Because the bright, blinding light on him and then it turning off and then the strobe light coming on didn't really work for me.
Yeah. I think that's my only thing I didn't like was the ending house.
He's alive!
I am. So I got work in the morning, so I think we're doing a nap.
Do you have anything to say about the last house?
To me, the last house, I like the theme, like the werewolf, like, oh, you're in a warehouse, like, oh, look, a werewolf came out. But it's just like how she was saying, get out, go, get. No, that kind of killed it. Yeah. Like, I get you're trying to put that theme of, oh my god, it escaped. But it's the way those actors, I don't know if it's just because he was getting toward the end of the night, or whatever. It was to get out and stuff, like, I'm sorry, but I was screaming, oh, put some suppressive fire out! Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him!
So in other words, Harrison would have been great at this house because he could have thrown in those military terms. Because it was like the military fighting the wolves.
Yeah,
but there was no military terms.
And all, like, the propane tanks they're using to fire off the gun, loved it. But like Ansley was saying, it's just how those actors were really like putting it off was like, oh my god, get out, run, get out. No, if it's a true military squad, hey, put some suppressive fire, get these civilians out of here. Why are you? Oh my god, he's right there. Like, it was just little terms that you could put in there instead of just saying, get out, go, get out. It's little things that you can make it more immersive to people, and then a little bit more light on the werewolves and stuff. Like
a little less light on the taxidermy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I only saw barely any werewolves, barely any soldiers. I mean, you heard them. Like, one actor, I'm not trying to hate on him. I mean, I guess, towards the end of the night. But the way he was like, oh my god, get out, go this way, go. It was a little bit lazy. But, I don't know if it was just a bad night or, it's tiring. Because I get it, it does happen. But, it was just the last house in general, it really wasn't doing it for me. Even though I did enjoy it, because it was like, okay, you can kind of get the theme of that one there. It didn't really make me like, oh my god, there's werewolves. It was like...
It took you a minute to realize that the werewolves were even there.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really like... When the soldier came out on the porch, give him some blood, give him some like... have him say like...
Give him a fake gun to point at the door just in case they're coming out. There's something that you could do.
Yeah, or like just say like, oh my god, they're out. They're out. Why are you here? They're out. Or send help. Something.
That's why Harrison never acted with us.
Screw you, I'm tired. I just woke up from a good nap. But it was just like those little sudden little things you could say that would really make it immersive and really be like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I give all the props to the actors. I mean, every actor in every house, they all did a phenomenal job. It was just that last house really wasn't doing it.
They kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah, I did the chainsaw guy at the end. It didn't really fit the theme of the last house.
Okay,
but he did awesome because it made you like that last one. Ah!
Yeah, you gotta have your last chainsaw scare.
Yeah, that's their tradition. They can't get rid of that.
No, I love the guy because he that chainsaw blade gets in my feet. Ooh.
What?
When he was going through the porch and all that, and like he would throw the chainsaw at your feet and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I love that. That's what. Oh god. Oh, I don't want to get hit by a chainsaw. But you could have done a little bit something else at the end instead of like the werewolf soldier theme, and then throw the chainsaw. I don't know. It's just weird.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the haunt. So Harrison, what are you gonna rate this haunt on a scale of 1 to 5?
Well, seeing how this is my second ever haunted house I've been to, I'm still going to rate it a 5, only because the whole entire cast made me feel welcomed. I had a freaking amazing time. Jump scares got me. The vibe that I got from there was like, oh, this is something I would love. And then hearing the owner speak and having him say, yeah, this is what everything we're doing, I love that. Because that's an owner who takes pride in his creation. I know some haunt people, they don't care. They either like, oh, well, this is just a little side gig. To me, they care about that thing, and I love them for it. Because they did not just say, oh, it's a haunted house that we do every year. We've built this thing from the ground up, and they're expanding more and more and more. And that is a man who has passion for that place.
As he said, he wants it to be the Disneyland of haunts.
I love that.
All right, well, there you have it. Harrison rates it a 5 out of 5. We're going to let him sign off because he's got work in the morning. So we're going to let him go, and me and Ansley are going to wrap it up here.
Bye, Harrison.
Thanks for joining us, Harrison.
Bye, buddy.
All right, so now it's just me and Ansley. We're going to wrap things up here. All right, Ansley, so what are you going to rate it?
I'm 4 or a 5 because of the inconsistency of the haunts, like the pieces of the trail. Because there was some that were like balls to the wall, awesome, all the way start to finish. Then you like go into the next one, start to finish, it was great. And then like we were saying, there was a bunch of them that were great at the beginning, and then they died off, and kind of were lackluster after that. And it kind of sucked because they were the end parts of the haunt. If that absolutely has to happen, I'd rather it happen at the beginning, and then I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And then it gets progressively better, not progressively worse.
No.
So, for that reason, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with Rae's 4 out of 5 screens.
She had a 4.5.
Okay, well, 4.5 out of 5. The actors, most of them, you could tell that they really loved their job, and that they really love doing this, and they really love scaring people. Some of them, it was like, I hate to say it, it was kind of like they would rather be home. And I hate, like I said, I really hate to say that, because, I don't know, maybe they were new, maybe it was the first night, and they, they're trying to pace themselves, and maybe they gave everything they had at the beginning of the night, and by the time that we got there was barely anything left. I don't know, because I have been on both ends of that spectrum. But you gotta learn to pace yourself. Yep. And if you are at the end of the haunt, and like in Werewolf House, I am looking at you. You have to be the most memorable part.
Mm-hmm.
Of every part of the haunt, you have to be the part that that is the part that I'm going to remember the easiest. Because you're the last thing we see as we leave this trail. You're the last experience that we have going on this trail and going through this haunt. So if you're, oh, get out, oh, leave, like I said, I'm going to tune that out. Okay, yes, I get a lot of people don't do this. A lot of people don't have background in scare acting. I get that. I understand that. And it may just be me. I will play devil's advocate. It could just be me. But as somebody that has been on that end, if you're going to tell me to get out, you're just really making me just want to leave at that point. Like, haha, so funny, yeah, I get it. Do not tell me to get out, help, boo, rawr. Do not tell me those things. I get it. I am in a haunted house. When have you ever watched a scary movie and the monster has went boo? I hate that. That is a pet peeve. That is one of those things that is up there with coochie hallways for me. And if you're not going to give me that energy I need at the end, maybe, and I'm going to be very harsh here, maybe you need to find somewhere else in that haunt to be. Sorry, I'm going to be cold about it. Give me the energy or find somewhere else to go. But that piece aside, with the Midway, with everything you can do, with the entire rest of the haunt, excluding that part, you guys did phenomenal. I love Madworld. I know it gets a lot of flack. I understand that. You're going to get a lot of flack when you're really good. I'm going to say it. People can be mad if they want to. You're going to catch flack when you're really good. Because people are mad because that means they have to raise the bar. But expectations, and sometimes y'all surpass them. And Jeremy jokes about me being the Simon Cowell of haunts a lot.
No, that's me.
Well then. Anyway, he jokes around and says I'm kind of a bitch sometimes when I talk about haunts. I will be that bitch. Because me personally, I want to see you do the best you can. And a lot of times, haunts don't really live up to my expectation that much anymore. Because I've done this. Because I've been on that end. And I know this is like me reviewing basically for the first time. Because, yes, last year I got introduced into this. But the Terror Talks had a little bit of a rough patch. That's what I'm going to call it, is a rough patch. Where we were reviewing the haunts, but we weren't able to keep up with the amount of reviews that we were doing. And some of them, it was because we go to them, and we were like, oh, that place was so bad, we're not even going to bother reviewing it. Scream break. But every time I've been to Madworld, and I know this is only my second time, every time I've seen videos, every time I've heard about it, it lives up to my expectations. And I have pretty high expectations. Now, I really wanted to give you guys a 5. I really, really did. Everything in me wanted to give y'all a 5. But I cannot get past Gucci hallways. I will always take points off for that. That is a rule of mine. If you have a Gucci hallway, you're at least getting some points taken off. And if we were doing it the other way, like we were doing it last year with the Boo Crew and everything, the 4 out of 5 screams for each part, sets would immediately get a point docked from that. Or SFX or whatever we decided that particular thing was in that. The Coochie hallways and the boo, rar, get out, no energy, last house. Last piece of the trail. Sorry guys, I don't want to put it all on y'all, but that was the part that killed it for me. Just saying, y'all would have had a 5 if I would have had that energy. Anyway, so that's 4.5 out of 5 screams for me.
Alright, I'm gonna be a little harsher actually and give it a 4 out of 5. I'm not even gonna give it a half. Just because you had I mean, everything was great. It's a great haunt. Don't get me wrong. I just want to start off by saying that. Obviously, we had a great time, and a lot of stuff there is phenomenal. But it's that last house. That last house is going to leave your impression. And when the last house is, falling flat, I mean, like I said, it's a phenomenal concept. I love what you're trying to do with that concept, but it just falls flat in terms of execution, and that's not on any. That's just on the part of the people who are carrying out the ending and such. And unfortunately, because of that, that paired with the earlier vampire, not really sure it's a vampire house sort of deal, brings it down to 4 instead of 4.5, like everybody else said. Plus, I heard the get outs and the rars and all of that. That unfortunately is that's a bit of a killer for me. So unfortunately, I have to give it 4 stars or 4 screams, and yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, that still is very good. I've done the math and the calculations. 4.5 from Rae, 5 screams from Harrison, 4.5 from Ansley, and 4 from me. So that brings us to a grand total of, drumroll, 4.5 screams. So, Madworld is a Terror Talk certified 4.5 screams haunted house. Be sure to go check it out this Halloween season. You are not going to want to miss this one. This one is one to definitely attend should you be able to find the time this season. As of the day we're recording this is literally just their opening weekend, so there's still plenty of time to go check them out. You can go to their website, all their social medias. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Don't know about Twitter or X, whatever. I mean, it will always be Twitter in my heart, but
X is for losers. Twitter is the real.
But their social medias, you can go find them on all that. You can go to madworldhauntedattractions.com, I believe is the website, and check them out there and get your tickets. Check their times, because their times are going to vary based on each day. But yeah, Madworld Haunted Attractions, located in Greenville, South Carolina. You want to check them out as soon as you can. 4.5 screams rated from us. But that is going to do it for us today on this episode, this first season opener of the Terror Talks. What a great way to start off the season with a top-notch haunt. But obviously, you heard Harrison and Rae. They've signed off already. But we've got Ansley, and I'm Jeremy. Until next time, don't text and drive.
Be excellent to each other.
And we'll see you in the fog.
Hey, you guys survived to the end of the show. Congratulations, you're all final girl material. But don't worry, you'll have plenty more opportunities to fall victim to our horrifying creations throughout the season. Afraid to miss out on more content?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Don't worry, we've got you covered. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. You can also subscribe to our Libsyn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts can be found.
Groovy.
Want to keep up with us regularly? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for all of our social media fun.
Don't fall asleep.
Go check out our website for our written reviews at theterrortalks.wixsite.com.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
Want to help us keep the lights from flickering? You can give us a one-time donation of $3 to support the show by visiting glow.fm/theterrortalks. Simply go to that link, and your one-time donation will go back into keeping the show running from Michael, Freddie, and Jason for another day. You can also subscribe to our Patreon by going to www.patreon.com/theterrortalks. Once there, you can subscribe to one of our 2 tiers, our lowest tier of $1 a month, and our highest tier of $5 a month. That's less than 1 cup of coffee, and it all goes right back into our show. Anything else we're forgetting?
I tell you, Michael Myers is here in this
Oh yeah,
town.
please give us a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you saw the show. And if there's something you liked or even didn't like, you can also contact us directly at theterrortalks@gmail.com. Well, that does it for this spooky showing. Be safe out there and beware of ghouls, goblins, and monsters. But until next time, happy haunting.